Hello everyone, we're here with Sannita and we're gonna talk about quick statements. So tell us, do you remember the first time you started editing Wikidata and what got you into it?
Well, what got me into Wikidata was the presentation at at Wikimania 2012. I was there in Washington, D.C. I was at the presentation and I immediately fell in love with the project. So much so that I started editing the beta version of Wikidata, trying out all the things, all the links, and all of that, and managing to convince finally the team to actually use Italian Wikipedia as a test bed for the links. So I have quite a history with Wikidata. My first edits, though, are about time zones for some reasons. I really don't know why I decided to do time zones. And then biographies of journalists and newspaper editors that won a particular award. I was doing a cleanup of those things on Italian Wikipedia. So I said, okay, let's do it first on Wikidata. Just let's collect all the things that we can do there, and then move it from there. And I still haven't finished, but that's another story for another day.
Nice, impressive. Okay, so tell us a little bit about quick statement. What is that tool and why is it particularly useful for people to enhance their editing experience?
So, quick statements, it's yet another tool made by Magnus Manske, and it's particularly useful when you have to upload huge batches of data. So basically, we all know Wikidata, and we know that Wikidata hosts a lot of data. And sometimes you have a huge pack of data that you want to import. Unfortunately, if you go with the user interface, you would do it one line at a time, which means every single subject of that data set that you're going to import has to be treated individually. With quick statements, you can actually do this in a more faster way. In this way, you can create a syntax that is basically creating a sentence, which is subject, verb, object, which is the number of the item, the property, and the value of the property. And in this way, you can upload a lot of data very easily, very fast, and you don't go one item per time.
Okay, sounds amazing. Can you show us what it looks like?
Okay, so I'm gonna show my something on my computer first. I'm going to show you first something here, which is my CSV. This is an old project of mine about the quarters of Bologna. So I already imported that. What I did was to create a CSV file with all the things that I need in terms of item that needs to be edited and all the values that needed to be imported in that particular item. As you can see in this way, I already prepared all the data as already should be on quick statements, which means this is P1448, which is official name. As you can see, you format it as language column bracket text bracket or the data or the date. Sorry, which is 571 is the inception, 576 is the date of the solve of the solve of the item, and also this is prepared in the way quick statements asks to do it. Of course, if you don't know how to do this, there's actually a help page on Wikidata that tells you how to create all this data, how to model all of this data with the precision, with the correct brackets and everything. So if you need help, you just type help column quick statements on the Wikidata search bar and you'll go directly to the page and you will have the user manual there.
All right,
What
so this is the way you prepare your data basically in a spreadsheet before
exactly?
putting it into quick statement.
Yeah, right. Then you export it into a CSV form. And there's another tool that I wanted to share, uh, which is this one, CSV to quick statements. So you export your data already prepared in a spreadsheet to a CSV file. You upload the data here, and as you can see, you already have the data immediately here. I'll just make it a little bit bigger. So as you can see, you have the subject, verb, object phrase that I told you about. So what happens is that quick statements will add step by step all of this data all in one go, which is basically add to item Q11082572, add the property 1448 Andrea and with the value Andrea Costa Saragozza. Then then the property 571 with the value 1962, etc., etc., 576, 1985, etc., etc., and so on and so forth. All of this is already prepared for quick statements. So you just click on copy to quick statements, and it opens automatically the quick statement interface. And as you can see here, you have the command add, which means you can add this particular data here, and it reads automatically which item or which property you are adding, or which other item you're adding as a value. But first, remember that you have to log in inside the tool. So you click on login. It will open this dialog box here. In order to complete your request needs permission, you click on allow, and then you can preload the data, and then you go, and there you go. You can already import the data. You just click on run, and then you're done. You have imported the data. Of course, I'm not going to import this data because I already did it in the past, and it would be a repetition. But with this quick steps, you can do it on your own. If you don't want to use CSV to quick statements, you can create your own command from the batch. You just go to quick statements. Again, remember to log in. Always check if you're logged in here. Then you click on new batch. This will open this window, this dialog window, in which you can copy paste the commands. It must be on a tab separated value, which means every line has to have the item that you're going to edit, the property that you're going to add, and the value that you're going to add. Okay? This means that every single line must have only one value. Remember that. No commas, only tabs. Okay? And then you click on import v1 commands here. And then you have, as you can see, again, this window where you have the item that you're going to edit, then the action that you're going to do, add the statements. You can also remove statements, but that's for later. And then the property that you're going to add and the value that you're going to add. Another thing that I didn't show you before is that you can also check how many edits you want to show, like 25, 50, 100, or 500. This is really important. When it shows you the window, please double check what you're uploading. Once you upload the data, you cannot stop. You can stop you can stop at any time the upload of the data, But if you do a mistake, then you'll have to to fix it manually. So it is extremely important for you to double check what data you're importing. And if I can give you a suggestion, import small chunks of data every single time. So focus on 50 to 100 edits, and then you move on to the next batch.
All right, so the data is imported to Wikidata directly as soon as you click on run. How can you check if your data was correctly imported to Wikidata?
You can check on your contributions. You should see at some point you can see this is the Bologna project that I was talking about. In fact, I already imported lots of data. You can check because you can check on your contributions here, and then you see that every line is created claim, property, value, and then it has the tag quick statements, temporary batch, blah, blah, blah. Of course, you can also give a name to your batch, but that's another story for another day. So you can check your data directly in your contributions, and you can quickly sort them if you check your contributions with the tag quick statements 2.0.
Right, but what if I realized a little bit too late that I made a mistake and I imported wrong data into Wikidata? Is there a way I can fix it?
So you imported wrong data. This happened to me too. So don't worry. First of all, don't worry. You're not gonna be killed and you're not gonna be blocked because of it. Everybody does mistakes. So can you. That's the first part. The second part is that unfortunately you have to fix it manually. You go directly to the item and you fix manually the value. Of course, if you do a lot, if you notice that you have lots of mistakes in your data set, stop immediately the import. When after you click on run, the command will change into a big red button called stop. You use it immediately. You fix the data first on Wikidata, then in your data set, and then you restart again your import.
All right, thank you. Can you give us a few examples of projects where you can use quick statement, like cases where it's particularly useful?
Yes, I have an example of a project that I can show you, which is exactly the Quarters of Bologna project that I still have on my computer. But for this, I'm going to show you also another tool that probably will be a focus for another video, or you can ask around about it, which is OpenRefine. As you can see, I prepared here all the data very neatly about all the things that I wanted to import, and I created that in a way that would be already organized to for export to Wikidata. So once you're done with OpenRefine, you can do this. You can click on Export to Quick Statements, and it will automatically, if you create a model for this data, you can create automatically an export that is ready for Wikidata for Quick Statements. What is important to know is that you can prepare with another software, which is Calc, maybe from or the OpenRefine Calc, an Excel, or OpenRefine. You can prepare your data set in a way that it's going to be easy to export for quick statements. And once you're done, you can import the data there. It's very important because, of course, it's going to be easier. It's going to be faster than doing it item per item. And you can have also control on all the data that you can import. The most important thing is that in this with quick statements, you have the possibility of editing more items just in one fell swoop. So it's easier, it's faster, and it's also going to be It's also easier for you to double check if you're missing some data. Because of course, if you edit item per item and you have to remember each time which property you're gonna add, this is gonna be tedious, and sometimes you can just jump one property. You can just skip a property without noticing. With quick statements, you just don't, because you just prepare the data and then you're done. And then you just upload it in one fell swoop.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And let's say I have some questions about Wikidata or I need some help. Where can I go and ask?
So first of all, if you have the doubts about how to model data, again, help column quick statements in the search bar on Wikidata. You will go directly to the user manual of quick statements. If you have problems with it, you can ask in the Wikidata Telegram channel or at the project chat, or you can contact me, Sannita, in my talk page, and I will gladly help you in finding a solution. But anyway, anytime that you need help, just go out and ask. Don't be afraid to ask, because this is what we are here for, to help each other.
Awesome. Thank you, Sanita, and have fun with quick statements.